talk money, if I might be so crass. I'm not going to ask you specifically what you're charging, but I would ask, what is a good budget for an author to set aside specifically just for editing? And also, when in the process does an author need to seek out an editor?
It's a little bit hard to answer, only because there is such a range in terms of who you can hire. And I would say that the more experienced the person is, the more likely that you're going to have to, budget a good amount. You get what you pay for. You pay for the experience that you want. So you can find freelance editorial services that are quite inexpensive. Those people do not have necessarily years of in-house training. And it doesn't mean that you're not getting good feedback from them, but especially for people who have very little experience, that's probably more like going and working with a beta reader rather than working with somebody who's very tuned to not only the needs of that project, but how that project then needs to flow through the complex world of publishing houses and acquisition and querying and all of that good stuff. So I'm not going to give you numbers because you get what you pay for. You can certainly find information online, though. If you Google the Association of Freelance Copy Editors or something like that, freelance editors, you'll see a chart that will kind of give you some kind of good ranges, kind of give you a good starting point for that. And you asked another question and I forgot what it was.
Oh, let's see. I asked about money. Oh, I asked when in the process should an author start thinking about reaching out to an editor?
So I tend to prefer to work with people who actually have a project completed. And when I say that, I don't mean, it needs to be all polished and ready to go. But you've hit a point in the work that you feel you no longer, it probably needs more work, but you no longer feel you can do that work on your own and you need another set of eyes. I have had people who are still writing their project who have asked to work with me. And, that's a writing coach thing. And I in the right circumstances, I'm willing to do that too. But that is a very different process. And it's a very time-consuming process for everyone involved. So it has to be really the right project for me to be willing to do that. But usually I want you to have actually put some time into it. I don't expect your book to be perfectly grammar-free. Like I do hope that you have actually done some revising and maybe have gotten some of the typos out. Because that's just kind of a level of respect in your own writing that you've put that work in. In terms of like, when do you have to have an editor? I'm going to be very careful in saying that while I love clients and I love working with people and I want to give them the best service possible, you don't have to hire a freelance editor. I think there's a popular misnomer that you need to have your book all perfect before you start querying. And that's just not the case. When I was an in-house editor, I always said if a book was perfect, then I don't have a job to do on it. So why would I acquire it?
Have you ever encountered that manuscript out of curiosity?
Sorry?
Have you ever encountered the manuscript that was already perfect? Nothing to do?
Never encountered a perfect manuscript.
Well, I've never sent you one. We'll see.
But agents don't expect perfection. They expect you to have a really strong idea and that you've taken it as far as you can. And then they're going to give you feedback. And then even if you sign with an agent, And even if you sign, whether you sign with a freelance, you work with a freelance editor and then sign with an agent, you're going to get feedback from the agent. And then even when you've done all that revision with the agent, you're going to get feedback from the editor. It's just one step in a whole long process. There are other places to, of course, get information. Having strong beta readers or critique groups can also give you really valuable feedback. But I think the additional piece that you may get with a freelance editor is not only that kind of structural information, but the extra kind of know-how of the polish that often is needed to get to yes. Although that yes is always, of course, subjective.
Unfortunately.